I was, you guys heard of Pastor Tommy Barnett from the States? Yeah. Great general of the faith. And I'm reading in one of his books, he was talking about his early years kind of in ministry, like as a teenager into his early 20s, so as a young adult. He was saying as he was getting pumped and excited, kind of like we are right now, like we're starting out our journey and getting excited. He said he found that often he'd be going along in life and then there was like this bump in the road or a pothole. And it was like, oh man, really, is that me? Like, do I need to fix that? Do you want me to use a handheld? Okay. Britney Spears isn't working for me right now, so thank you, man. And he was saying how it was in his like just going through life, and everything would be going smoothly, and bam, it hit a pothole. Like, it's kind of get back together and start living his life again and getting filled with faith. And bam, it hit another pothole, or like a bump in the road. I'm like, what is going on here? And he said the longer he started walking in his Christian faith, the more potholes and bumps in the road he started finding. And it kind of dawned on him one day, he realized, he goes, these aren't just bumps in the road. This is a bumpy road. Right? So he came to the conclusion, either you can complain about these bumps in the road or you can learn to enjoy it. Okay, let's be honest. How annoying, if you're like me, when you're driving and you see a pothole or a bump, you try to avoid it, but you hit it. Anyone else like that? Okay, thank God. I thought Sydney drivers were like that. So, and then in Queensland, we have these things called cane toads, right? And I try to hit them, but I always miss them. So it's kind of bizarre how that works. But we hate it when you hit a pothole or a bump in the road when you're driving your car. It's annoying. But when you're driving a four-wheel drive off-road, it all changes. You actually line up the bumps in the road. You actually line up the biggest pothole you can find. And instead of kind of driving along in this little small car of faith, this little beat-up buggy going, I want to miss the little pothole in the road, another bump in the road, there goes one, this is really shaking up my car. You got to sit up in some big beefed-up four-wheel drive Christianity and go, take me off-road right now, I'm taking my whole family, let's go kids, where's the biggest pothole in the road? And smash it full speed ahead. Because this is a bumpy road, we can either whinge about it or we can decide, bring on the bumps, I'm going to take this on and run this race with endurance. Would you jump with me? I've got to show you something. Yeah, go right ahead and clap if you want. 2 Timothy. Paul, right at the end of his life, wrote this to Timothy. In 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 6, it says, for I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure is at hand. Verse 7, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, and I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day, and not to me only, but also to those who have loved at his appearing. Man, at the end of my life, I would love to write down on a piece of paper, I have fought the good fight, I have kept the faith, and I have finished this race. I want to be able to write that. I look at this and go, this man was able to write it. Morris was able to write this. Because I realized there are always going to be these bumps in the road. It is inevitable because this is a bumpy road. So we're going to be the kind of people that when we hit a bump, our car breaks down and that's it, and we jump off and walk away. We're going to go, this is a bumpy road, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. I'm going to doof up my ride, or whatever it is people say about their cars. What is it, Will? Pimp my ride. Sorry, I don't get that. So, from Queensland. So, we can finish this race well. We don't have to quit. So let me ask you this. What are the bumps you've hit that have caused you to stop? I hate that bump. Because there's stacks of them. Intellectualism. It's a huge one. See with uni students all the time. They're pumped about the Lord. They get to uni, get hit with questions they can't answer. Throws them off. Offense, man. How many people lose their walk with Christ because they're offended at a person? It freaks me out. Unforgiveness, peers. There's a million bumps in the road that we are going to hit. The question is, are you going to run this race with endurance, the kind of way you run a race? I know there's going to be uphills. I know there's going to be valleys. I know there's going to be bumps. It's part of my race. But I can finish this race. And I kind of want to explore for just a few minutes in this whole idea through the life of Solomon. And if you jump with me to the book of 1 Kings, you realize here, in fact, I'm just going to speed through 1 Kings. the whole book. Joking, I'm not really. 1 Kings. Would you realize Solomon had absolutely everything that any of us could ever desire? But yet one thing caused him to lose his way. In 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 18, 1 Kings, apologize. Sorry, did I face 1 Kings chapter 10? Verse 18, it says, moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with pure gold. The throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round at the back. There were armrests on either side of the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the armrests. 12 lions stood there, one on each side of the 6 steps. Nothing like this had been made for any other kingdom. And it goes down, it said that that Solomon made silver as common in Jerusalem as stones. So you've got to get this picture. This guy had absolutely everything he ever desired. Anything he could ever want, any material possession, anything the guy set his eyes upon, he wanted. But if we read in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 1, it says, but King Solomon loved from many foreign women. Verse 2, from the nations of whom the Lord has said to the children of Israel, you shall not intermarry with them, nor they with you. Surely they would turn away your hearts after other gods. Solomon clung to these in love. Verse 3, and he had 700 wives. So good. Can I have an amen, Joel? No, don't. You got one. That's enough. Like, he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. And his wives turned away his heart. Verse 4, for it was so when Solomon was old that his wives turned his hearts after other gods, and his heart was not loyal to the Lord his God, as was the heart of his father David. This is tragic because this guy, he had every chance to run his race well. Look at the father he had. Not a perfect father, but a guy who kept seeking the Lord, kept bringing his life towards the Lord. But Solomon, although he had a great start, he didn't run with endurance. And the Bible says his heart was turned from the Lord. And in his old age, he departed from him. Now, before I came here, I asked my mum, who my parents are like my biggest heroes ever. And I go, Mum, I'm speaking a change tonight. Do you have any advice for the young adults at C3 Oxford Falls? Now, my mum is the most beautiful woman you'll ever meet, the only woman in my life. And she is a beautiful Sicilian lady, amazing woman of God, amazing cook. She's an inspiration. Oh yeah, she's Sicilian. Don't worry about that. And she said, yeah, I got something to say to the young adults. And she's been in ministry now. She's been senior pastor with my dad for about 110 years or something. So she said, yeah, tell him this. And she talked to me from the book of Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. She said, above all else, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows all the issues of life. Our hearts, guys, because out of it will flow every issue of our lives. Think about crazy bumps in the road, they'll mess with our hearts. And if our hearts get damaged or scarred or bruised, it will really affect many areas of our life. My mum was saying to me, I could almost go on, this is my mum's message for tonight. She's saying everything will flow out, the way we talk to other people, the way we see the world, the way our relationship with the Lord goes, the way we set our lives up, everything will flow out of our heart. The Bible says guard with all diligence. Because Solomon here, the Bible says his heart was turned from the Lord. He went after many foreign women. Moral of the story is, don't turn your heart from the Lord. What were you saying? No, it's good. We live in a globalized society. What are you talking about?